Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe so you can get my post notifications. Today we're going to get into some broccoli and cheddar soup. All right, let's get into the ingredients. First of all, we have mustard cheese and cheddar cheese, diced onions, milk, broccoli, of course, some diced carrots, and vegetable broth. I like to use vegetable broth instead of chicken broth because it has less sodium. I also like to use cream of celery soup. Then you're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter in a Dutch oven and melt. From there, I like to add the garlic paste because I feel like that's much easier to use than just crushed garlic. I saute the garlic and then I add my onions. From there, I keep the I keep the stovetop on a medium heat. As you can see, the butter starts to melt, but you don't want it to burn. Once I add the onions, I saute them, I would say for about 2 to 3 minutes. Again, you just want them to be soft, and they're more so there for the flavor and not so much for the huge texture, and that's why I like to get them soft first. From there, I add the half a cup of flour and then the milk and cream of celery. We are basically making the base to our soup, and so we're going to start stirring that to get all of the lumps out of the soup, as well as to smooth out the flour that's been added. For these purposes, we're really just using it for a thickening. If you have my cookbook, you'll see this kind of mimics the mac and cheese minus the cream of celery. After a few minutes, you'll notice that the texture has changed and it's really just a creamy texture. I like to stir this the entire time. I use a technique where I'm stirring from the bottom, and then sometimes as I go along the sides, I will take out any lumps or concentrate my stirring to get those lumps out. You will notice though that the texture will change as it starts to come together. From there, I did eventually change my spoon, and you can see how the texture is getting more creamy. I have not added any cheese at this point. This is just a creamy part of the recipe, just building the base to the soup. After I've gotten the texture exactly like I wanted, it is time now to add the cheese. I added, for this recipe, sharp cheddar cheese as well as Munster, so that's why you see that yellow and that white cheese. I like to use Munster for this recipe, so even though it's called broccoli cheddar, it's really broccoli cheddar and Munster cheese. And I continue to stir in the cheese until it's fully incorporated and the sauce will begin to thicken. From there, I do begin to add my vegetables, but I wanted you all to see this texture to show you how it continues to change as the cheese began to melt and the other ingredients are more incorporated. You want to get all of the lumps out. From there, I add the diced carrots and stir them in. They will almost become unrecognizable, but you will see the flecks of orange in the cheese sauce. From there, of course, I add in my broccoli. You will notice that for this recipe, I do not add any seasonings or salt, and that is by design. This recipe can very easily get too salty, particularly because cheese has its own sodium aspect to it. So you want to be careful with your seasonings. You can really make this recipe and not add any seasonings at all, and it will taste just fine, just by virtue of the onions and the garlic that are there, and then the sodium that's already in the cheese. You don't have to add any other salt. Once everything has been fully incorporated, the last step is adding the vegetable broth. This is actually going to thin out this cheese mixture but make it more soupy. From there, of course, you want to incorporate it all together, but It's starting to look more like soup and less like sauce, vegetables, and cheese. And I do like to cover it for a time period. I would say about 15 minutes. And now we have our wonderful finished product, this tasty broccoli cheddar and mustard cheese soup. You will absolutely love it when you try it. It is not too salty, not too cheesy. It is perfectly flavored and textured. I wanted to really show you guys that texture so you can see exactly how this texture ends with the soup and the layering of the flavors. No seasonings added at all, just exactly what I gave you guys. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can check out some more videos when they are available, and check out some other videos that have already been posted, as well as go to my website for some additional recipes. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.